Survivor Series War Games happened, and the boys at the Triple Threat Wrestling Podcast are going to break it down and give us the match of the night and go over all of our thoughts on the PLE. So stick around. This is Triple Threat Wrestling. Uh. The Survivor Series PLE happened, and we're going to give all of our thoughts here. So stick around and let us know what you think at the end. Drop it in the comments below. MVP, what do you think of Survivor Series?
Good, not great. It definitely left a lot for to be desired, but that's only because I attended last year's Survivor Series War Games, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, you get Punk and Orton come back. You're not going to beat that this year.
No, I mean
um,
we got to see CM Punk come back of
you
some
did.
sorts.
You did. Which we're going to talk about when we get to that match for sure. So let's just go through the matches in order here. So the women's war game match, I thought it was pretty good. There were some clunky spots, which I mean that's going to happen in some matches. I'm not going to hit them too hard for that. But the
Yeah.
Io Sky spot with the
Okay.
moonsault garbage can,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal. And then I think the Swanton
But
bomb at the other end of the cage happening at the same time, that was a
yeah.
great spot. But it
Mhm.
sucked because two awesome things were happening and the camera can only do one at a time. Like you
Mhm.
couldn't see one or the other. Um, so if they could have switched that camera angle a little bit better to catch both of those, that would have been awesome. But Io Sky is just a maniac, and she is just, you're for sure going to get something from her in these matches. And
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
awesome. I will say that Rhea, Hulk, Hogan, John Cena, Ripley is starting to wear thin on me because she literally got held by four women and beat with a bat by another one, and she just no sold that. Like, what? But overall, out of 10, I would give it a good 6.5 out of 10, but I'll turn it to you. What do you think?
Okay, so I didn't get to go into the kitchen and make my mac and cheese during this match. However, so that trash can moonsault off the top, that's forever Io's spot because she did that in NXT. Also fantastic, by the way. Um, my only critique about those two fantastic spots were, and this seems to be this seems to happen a lot during women's matches. It's when they have the spot off the top of something, they tend to take a little too much time to set up. So it just looks like both sets of people, they're just there standing, waiting, standing, waiting. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, I don't like that either because if you can make it look organic, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I've always hated that like four people are next to each other and they're like pretending to push each other, just waiting for this thing to happen. And it's like,
Yeah.
I see that you're just waiting for that to happen. Like
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
not,
all right. Look, we're this is pro wrestling. We know, we know. But at least suspend my disbelief just a little bit to be like, oh, did this just happen, or like you said, it happened organically.
yeah.
And you don't get that. Also, it just seemed like the chair shots. The
Yeah.
yeah, the chair shots, they're pretty horrible.
Yeah. I mean, there was one spot where Naya like was gonna hit Naomi with the chair,
Yeah,
and then she stopped because she didn't want to hit her
yeah,
in the head, and then she like
exactly.
went to the side, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
like
no,
that's terrible. Those are the
it is.
botches that happen, and it happens in men's matches too. I'm not just dogging on the women, but it's
But
unfortunate.
it happens more in the women's match. We love the women, women's revolution, whatever, all that. They got to do better.
Yeah,
They gotta show us that they're worthy of a war games match.
yeah. Which this
And
should have been a elimination match, like you said, the Survivor Series match. This shouldn't have been a War
yeah,
Games match, but here we are.
Yeah, but it's just small finite details like that should be tightened up. And if you're gonna be on a PLE, you got stuff you got to do.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Um, we got that Money in the Bank cash in tease, and Raquel Rodriguez just shut that shit down right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was the right thing to do. And I love the spot where with Io Sky is shooting the the fire extinguisher, and then when all the smoke clears, oh, I'm handcuffed to the rope.
Yeah.
That was masterfully done.
Yep. Yeah, it was good. So, I mean, yeah, it wasn't terrible. It didn't need to be there.
Yeah,
Rhea Ripley, she's starting to be like Becky Lynch that way, where Becky Lynch had a couple times where she went super sane and, you know, I don't
yeah,
like that especially with like in a War Games match. You need to sell that. You're getting beat with a baseball bat. Sting took out the
yeah,
entire NWO with a baseball bat. You're going to take 5 shots to your gut and just stand there?
yeah.
Like, give me a
Yeah, that's
break.
true. Yeah, she's
But
being held back and full power swing by Liv Morgan. Ugh.
yeah.
And you notice all that. Oh, I can lift you up on the top rope and give you a riptide,
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah,
which
it is.
was pretty badass. But
It was a and I like how they got to that point. Like it wasn't like, you can tell they're trying to build up to get there. Like she was gonna go through the table, she flipped it, she brought her up there, and it turned out pretty good. Um, but yeah, so I mean it was all right.
the women delivered. I give them that.
They deliver, especially if you have Io. Like I don't think you can ever do a women's War Games match without Io Sky in it. You
Oh,
have to have her as a
yeah,
permanent
no,
fixture in these
yeah,
matches.
huh.
Next on the agenda, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Not a bad match. It was like 11 minutes. It didn't overstay its welcome. The right person went over. I told you in the predictions, Shinsuke's got
Yeah,
to win this title.
you did.
Um, and I mean it. I do want to say that the U.S. title needs a little bit more prestige added to it. So, um, hopefully this title change and this new character can add some value to it. But I don't think the feud
Mhm.
is over. I think it's going to continue. Even LA Knight, when they interviewed him walking away, he said to be continued. So, I think they're going to revisit it. But, it was a solid match. The right finish happened. Shinsuke looked pretty good. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Um, I love the new presentation for Shinsuke Nakamura. He came out to uh, an altered version of the Rising Sun on SmackDown, and then he came out to this banger.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then just the whole darkness. He's like an evil samurai of some sorts. The presentation's badass. And look, all right, I understand about the U.S. title needing more prestige, but having him win the title right away, it's like you have um, you have Carmelo Hayes, you have Santos Escobar, and you have Andrade all fighting every week to see who will have who will face LA Knight for this title. And then you have Shinsuke just walk right in for 2 weeks, beat just hit him, and all of a sudden he's got a championship match.
Yeah.
Um, maybe I'd like to see like a DQ finish where Shinsuke is totally destroying him, not necessarily needing a title change,
Right.
and then maybe like you said, it's this not over for a long shot, and maybe at the next PLE, Shinsuke goes over and gets the title. But like, what do you like? What's that say about the other competitors that are vying for this championship?
Well, that's what I was getting at a long time ago is WWE, all they do is every championship, they just hold these tournaments. And like I hate that. Like you can't build organic feuds and you got to resort to these. And that's, Carmelo and Andrade is the same thing. They had like 7 or 8 matches before it's like, oh, you know what? You both can just fight for it. And it's like, this is like a really scenic route to get to where we need to be. Like you could have had that triple threat months ago.
Yeah.
Like I will say that you're right. Shinsuke's new look with the helmet, right? And when he was walking
Yeah.
out, this is what Lord Tensei was supposed to be way back in the day.
Except he couldn't wrestle like Shinsuke,
He
so
can't wrestle like Shinsuke, but yeah, it was really good presentation from Shinsuke, and he deserves a lot. So I mean,
yeah.
if you're going to
No,
continue
all
this
right. Look,
feud, he
I'm not
needs to
saying he.
retain it.
I'm. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it whatsoever. He does for all the stuff that he's done past couple years. Does he get it right away? You know
Yeah, no, I hear you. Get the story going a little bit. And
exactly,
LA Knight
exactly.
needs a story because
Yeah,
he's been in,
they
spinning his
they
wheels.
did it. They did him wrong when they didn't give him money in the bank,
Yep. And,
and
and
he's
especially when the
been
crowd was way into him then too.
yeah.
Like they're into him, but they're not like that into him like they were then.
LA
So,
Knight's broken right now. I don't know if there's a way we can he can be fixed.
and that's the thing. Like they need to start learning to hit when the iron's hot. They
Mm-hmm.
don't. They've never done that. Roman Reigns almost was destroyed because of it until he came back with this gimmick.
Yeah.
They do it time and time again. And, was the call right for like Cody, for example, for him not to win at WrestleMania 39? That's up for debate, but
Mm-hmm.
right then the crowd would have been really into him winning. And maybe you have a plan after that, but you build up to this huge match at Mania 40 and then nothing since then. And the same thing happened with LA Knight. He had all this momentum and you struck the iron a little bit too late. And now the crowd's like, yeah, he won it. That's great. But what now? Why do I care about this character?
Yeah.
That's where they're at. But next was Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. I want you to go first. What do you think? Because you called your
Uh,
shot on the Ruthless
mhm.
Talk podcast. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Easily, match of the night.
I agree.
Match of the night. Braun Breaker's such a fucking badass. I have to say. That flying spear at the end. Oh my god.
That was wild.
Yeah, took Ludwig Kaiser out of his boots. Um, right guy won, Braun Breaker. He needs to continue to show he's a badass. Build him up with the Intercontinental title until he's ready to get to the world title picture. Um, Sheamus and Ludwig they also showed out. They don't they don't they don't get hurt by this loss whatsoever. I still see Ludwig being in the Intercontinental title picture, but he's elevated now because of this performance. He's smart, tactical heel. I mean, he stopped Sheamus again from getting the title that had eluded him. So
And I like how
I
Sheamus was protected too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this continues their story for sure.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Braun Breaker can go on to the next challenger.
You hit the nail on the head with Braun Breaker is a rock star for them. And
Yeah,
he needs to carry this title for a long time and be
yeah,
a dominant champion. Because like even the press conference was awesome. I don't know if you watched the press conference, but
I did.
he literally said was like, I expected to win. I'm gonna move on now. Like he wasn't even, oh yeah, I won. He's like, yeah, I knew that. And like that was awesome. But yeah, he needs to be a dominant champion for a while. He's got the look, the spear,
Yeah,
stop everyone else from using the spear. Let him use it
yeah,
because I actually, for the first time in a long time, felt the spear is like really painful in that match where I'm like, dang, that was a
yeah.
great spear. And I haven't felt that way in years about a spear, but he's
Since
he's awesome
Goldberg.
since Goldberg, right? Um, Yeah, it was a good match. Definitely the match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Ludwig Kaiser, I mean, I'm hoping he keeps going because he's got, so much
He's got
talent.
everything.
He's
He's
got
got
everything.
everything.
Um, and not now, maybe in like a year, I could see him going for the world heavyweight title. I could see him as he could talk on the mic.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, he's got everything he needs. So just hopefully WWE don't drop the ball.
Mm-mm.
Because, here's my fear is like, so when they move to Netflix, right? I'm already hearing that Netflix wants Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. So really, like the main people are going to be on Raw. There's no one else really, I mean, of that caliber for SmackDown. So they really need to start building people up. And
Yeah. Well,
Ludwig
this is.
Kaiser is another guy that could be a main event talent on SmackDown. He could do that.
Mhm.
But they can't drop the ball. Like you got to give Netflix what they want with this deal because it's a lot of money, but you
Yeah.
have to save your product and like not, throw one show out of balance. So I would like to see
Well,
Ludwig Kaiser go to SmackDown.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. This will be like mid 2000s all over again, where they had all the heavy hitters on Raw and they had all the up and comers on SmackDown.
Yeah, that would be
And
good.
it like John Cena started on SmackDown. And he went through all the paces on SmackDown until they felt like he was ready for the big time. Then they moved him over to Raw.
Yep.
So it's not. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing either. I will say so when they officially get going on Netflix, all this talent they need to go back to 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then SmackDown should go to 3 hours as well because they just have so much talent. They need to showcase everybody, or if you don't get shown featured on TV, people will forget, and then you'll be like, "What the hell?
Yeah.
Where's this guy? Where's this guy been?"
And I mean, it should be easy, right? Because if you have both shows
Yeah,
go to 3 hours, us as viewers aren't going to be like taken out of the action by these commercial breaks because it's Netflix. It should just be a
yeah.
continuous 3 hours, right? Um,
No, there's going to be ads.
I would assume there's going to be like a lot of product placement or like maybe a 20-second little, like, how we get on PLEs, like the WWE superstars talking about a product or whatever. I don't see Netflix doing like a 3-minute commercial break.
Well,
I don't,
have you watched NFL on Amazon Prime?
a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hate that
it's
I got to watch
it's
NFL on like 5 different platforms, but yeah, I have.
well, I mean, it's going to be the same like that. They have regular commercials.
Well,
Yeah,
then anyway.
I just hope it doesn't turn out to where it's like the Jake Paul,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson fight, where I'm sitting at a circle at 95% for 95% of the freaking show.
Yeah. And then you see what happens next and you miss the build up to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we'll see what that brings. But yeah, I mean, they need to start showcasing the talent and give people meaningful feuds. I mean, I don't know what the problem is. Like, what's the problem? Um, but anyway, so next match was Gunther versus Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Great match. These two can
Yeah.
deliver. Let me
Yeah.
tell you what I don't like. Why is Finn Balor there? Why are we revisiting this? I hate it. I hate it every second of that because Damian Priest, I mean, okay, protected him a little bit, but this story was for Gunther to get his confidence back, not win because of a cheap ending. And, I think they dropped the ball with that because then it looks like Gunther only won because he got that interference. Maybe his confidence would have still been hindered, but I don't know. I have no interest to see Priest and Balor go back. Like, we already had that match and we kind of have been away from it for a little bit. So I don't know what your thoughts on it, but I mean, it was still a great match. I just did not
Yeah.
like that finish. So
Oh, all right. The match is great. Um, I could have done without the finish, but hear me out. Um, so we have Finn interference, yeah.
yep.
Like you said, we're sick of seeing Finn and Damian Priest. I still say we're gonna get that again. However, you did see Gunther kick Finn Balor. Do I smell face turn?
Maybe, maybe. I mean,
Because
that
he
was
because he didn't want the easy way out. I mean, granted, he was trying to regain his confidence, but a heel trying to get a clean victory when the cheap screw victory was right there to be had.
yeah.
Do we see a face turn by Gunther?
It's gonna be difficult because I think the only way he turns face is in a double turn and he loses the title because I don't see both brands having a face champion. Like I think that they have a
Yeah.
balance there, but I would love to see Gunther as a face. I mean, he's got the mic work to do anything. He can play to the crowd, he can be a heel. It's awesome, but I do see that. It could be a possible face turn thing that maybe they're hinting toward it. I do see this is the thing I like about this champion. He didn't like the cheap finish. Like he won because of it. I mean, let's be honest, but
Yeah.
he went and took that guy out too. He's like, no, I don't want that. Get the hell out of here. Like, this is my match. Like, I like that. Like, I want champions that don't have to rely on interference. Like, as much as I love the bloodline, that was so outplayed that every finish was bloodline, bloodline, bloodline. It's like
Mhm.
Roman Reigns could be a dominant champion. Just let him do his thing. Let him win the matches. Like,
Jey Uso interfered. Jimmy Uso interfered. Sol Sikoa interfered.
yeah,
Sami Zayn interfered. Paul Heyman interfered.
is more. So I love having a heel champion. This is like I'm handling my business. Don't get involved. I'll win. Like I love that. But overall, I mean, not a bad match.
Yeah.
Damian Priest and Gunther always put on a clinic, so it was good to
Mm.
see. So men's War Games match, it was very memorable. It's very good if you love the bloodline. And I do love the animosity between Punk and Roman, even in the
Yeah.
cage. Like when Punk's like letting him go and then he cuts him off, and Roman just sells that like it was the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Yep.
That was good.
And
Eh,
then Roman trying to come out, and then CM Punk just cut him off.
yeah, that was good.
And then them leaning on opposite sides of the cage.
Yeah, that's cinema right there. That's cinema. That so you can
Yeah.
see it, right? And I love how Roman had no interest in helping Punk, but when Punk saved him, he holds out his hand and picks him up like, "All right, let's do it," right? Um, there was a lot of great and I love, okay, let me tell you how much the one thing WWE is getting right above everything, Jacob Fatu. They are making him look like a monster. That he gets
Yeah.
taken down on this toolbox and no sells that. I was like,
Yeah.
man, he's the real deal, dude.
Bulldog on a toolbox. He gets right back up. CM Punk, he doesn't know what's going on. Turns around, he's hit in the face.
Yep. Uh,
Perfect.
It was awesome. And I like I said, the match was great. It just leaves me thinking. I mean, we both predicted that we didn't see the OG Bloodline winning this, and it's like, where do you go now? Like I don't know the next chapter of the story. And we've been here before with the Bloodline. Like, where do you go? And then they hit us with another banger. Um,
Well, if you heard Michael Cole at the end, the the original Bloodline win, but Solo Sokoa still wears the Ulafala.
yeah. I wonder if we're
There,
gonna continue this Bloodline feud all the way to Mania. Uh,
well, I mean, it's gonna eventually include The Rock.
for sure. For sure.
So if that leads to Rock versus Roman, I'm all for it because then we get that out of the way finally.
You have to do that this year. You can't wait another
Yeah.
year for The Rock to get
No.
older. He looked great at Mania 40, in my opinion, for his age.
Uh,
Not okay, but not wrestling for that long. And then you go in like 40 minutes long in a tag team match. Pretty impressive. I mean, at that age, right? 50 years old, and you just come out and do a 40-minute, tornado match. Like, I thought it was good. Well, it turned into a tornado match,
I
but
felt I felt like he looked every bit of 50.
well, you know what? Maybe I need to rewatch it. I only saw it live with you on here, so
Yeah.
like maybe I need to
Yeah.
rewatch it again. anyways, you have to do it. Long story short, his age, right? He's got to do the match
Yeah.
this year with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
You already had him at Bad Blood, like hint at coming back, right? So
Yeah.
you have to have him come back.
I mean, I'm surprised he didn't show up here.
I thought he
I
was.
think I think we were all expecting him to show up, and it would have been a perfect. I mean, unless they're taking the scenic route to and get his involvement with it.
Yeah. Um, and the one question we got to ask is, what is the favor Punk is going to ask Heyman? Because he said, "I'm going to come for that favor when I need it," and Heyman said, "It's yours." And
Right?
then
Because he,
Heyman is back now to acknowledging the tribal chief. He wasn't till this match at the end. So yeah,
yeah,
we'll see what this the favor is. I mean,
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I and one more thing that I love about the match is when Punk and Roman are going at each other, and Heyman comes out and just it's war game like
yeah,
cinema. This is cinema. This is great. It's
yeah.
awesome. Um, overall,
And
oh, and Bronson Reed.
yeah,
I saw the replay in slow motion. His ankle didn't look right when
both of
he
them, both
landed.
of them.
Both of them. Triple H says
Well,
it might be a few weeks. I don't know about all that. We'll see. It might be a little bit longer, but
that's what you get when you don't commit to the splash and just try to land on your feet.
when you Adam Copeland it, you get scared and then you do that.
Yeah,
Jimmy Uso did the splash from
yeah.
the top. He went
It,
chest first.
and
That's how
broke a
you need to
toe.
do it. And he broke a toe. But would you rather break a toe or your whole ankle? I mean, you got to
Yeah,
pick one, right? But
yeah.
um,
No,
yeah,
but just seeing that guy that big fly off there. Oh my god!
yep.
When he jumped, Roman was probably like frozen in the moment. I don't know what to do, and then Punk pulled him off. Like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen.
And the timing of that save was you could
Yeah,
not get any more perfect. Punk is say what you will. He knows his ring presence. He knows what he's doing in there.
yeah,
And he pulled him at the right second. It wasn't like too
yeah,
obvious. He wasn't waiting around. It was awesome. But overall, the match, I give it, an 8 out of 10. It was good. Feel good moment for the OG bloodline at the end. Um,
yeah.
you know, and it is what it is. We didn't get The Rock, but we still got a pretty good War Games match. So um overall, the PLE, what do you rate it?
Uh, it was 7.
I'm with you. Good 7.1 if I'm feeling
Yeah,
lucky that day. But all right. Well, if you guys agree, drop it in the comments below. What was your favorite match of the night? Us, we both agree the Braun Breaker match was that was your match of
yeah.
the night.
Mhm.
So drop in the comments if you agree, and we'll see you on the next one.